Greetings, lore seekers, and welcome to another episode of Sal's Musings. I'm now back from the holiday, obviously, and it was quite a good one. But what did we have? Well, we had Disney drop a few things while I was away, so I'm a little bit behind the ball than everybody else. But to weigh in my 2 cents, because of the amount of stuff that has happened, I do think it is going to be a full video on everything. So first things first, what am I pleased about? Well, I'm actually happy to hear that we're now getting a Kenobi series. However, like most of the fan base, quote unquote, I do think it is a little bit too late, considering what Disney has done to its franchise. Now, a bit of back context before I go into anything else. I was actually okay with Disney buying Star Wars. I was okay with them taking the expanded universe and shelving it to the side, now I'm calling that Legends, because quite frankly, in my opinion, they would have never lived up to that. And so it was smart to put it to one side, saying it's the Legends canon, we're going to start our new own canon and we'll recanonise the bits that we can and bits we can work with. And to a degree, they actually did a very good job of doing that, like with the Thrawn books, Tarkin, various of the TV series they did, like Rebels for example. But then they also didn't recanonise a lot of stuff like the Philippine, we haven't seen the Boffins since their mention in Return of the Jedi, and we haven't seen the Killiks, one of the crucial alien races to a lot of things, but nah. And I think the thing I'm most salty about is their changing of the Mandalorian warrior culture. A lot of it I liked, the stuff they did in Rebels, that was fine. Except for one teeny tiny bit, was the whole thing about Boba Fett and Jango Fett not being true Mandalorians. Because, while that might seem like an off comment to some, to those of you who know the Mandalorian warrior culture, and know the history of the Mandalorian people, they weren't human, they were originally an alien species, but the way it worked is the Mandalorian ideology espoused that if you choose to be a Mandalorian, you are a Mandalorian, regardless of who or what you are. You could have been a Jedi for Christ's sake before, even a Rhodian, it doesn't matter, you're a Mandalorian. And then to turn around and say, alright, you dress like a Mandalorian, you act like a Mandalorian, but you're not a Mandalorian because you don't meet this tiny little checkbox, just annoyed me quite a bit. It's not very inclusive, that's what I'm saying. Anyway, so yeah, I'm actually quite happy with the fact that we're now getting Obi-Wan. I'm going to watch it first. That will be the only, probably, bit of Star Wars that I'll be watching in the coming years, because I have no interest in Episode 9. I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. And I may watch The Mandalorian. Still a bit salty, but I may bite the bullet and watch it. We'll see. I'll wait till some of the reviews come out, to be honest, before I actually make up my final mind. But yeah, what switched me off from Star Wars? Well, I watched the Force Awakens. I didn't like all the bits of it, but I could see what they were going for. They wanted to, make a safe movie to prove to fans that they could actually, handle the responsibility of making a Star Wars movie. Didn't like the fact that it was just a basically re-repeat of these tropes from the previous movies, good, valiant resistance, fighting at the dark, evil empire. All to have it proved that they were both all incompetent and all bad at their jobs. And the big, bad evil they'd been building up in the books, in the comics. For those of you who haven't read the books, so Palpatine in the novel Tarkin made a comment of an unknown force he could sense in the unknown region that might be the source of his power. And that was always vaguely hinted at to be Snoke, until eventually you meet Snoke in the... I can't remember which novel it was, or one of the backdrops where he meets what eventually becomes the First Order, based on Palpatine's notes. And he basically helps them out and establishes the First Order. If Episode 9 is going to be that Palpatine was behind it all along, that's basically them ignoring their own established canon. Because, look, they're not going to use the Legends canon, they're going to use bits of it that they like, or that gel well with fans to try and, get them to come back. But it might be a bit too little too late. Not to mention that the biggest issues with The Force Awakens... Sorry, not The Force Awakens. Well, no, actually, no. That is actually just tie into that. So, in The Force Awakens, Han Solo opens up a hyperspace window and blasts through his own ship to escape. Nothing happens to the ship. Well, considering the close proximity of the Falcon being inside the ship, opening up a hyperspace window inside the ship would have destroyed that ship. It's the same in Legends, where there is a mission in the game Battlefront 2, the original Battlefront 2, not the EA remake, where the 501st is assaulting Yavin 4 after the destruction of the Death Star. There's a Mon Calamari cruiser that's about to open up a hyperspace portal window, whatever you want to call it at this point, directly where the Imperial ship is, and the Imperial ship goes, oh, if it opens up this port, if it tries to go into hyperspace now, it'll rip us apart. Well, basically, that ship was so close to the Imperial ship by about a few kilometres, that yes, opening up the hyperspace window, and the moment they accelerate to go through it, the portal would have torn through the Imperial ship. But then you get to The Last Jedi's kamikaze Admiral run, Vice Admiral I should say, and she's nowhere near it. She turns the ship around, I'm going to charge at this and I'm going to destroy it. Which, in that move, completely ignoring the established rules in The Force Awakens, also means the importance of Imperial and First Order superweapons is now practically useless. You could get any automated drone with a hyperspace engine and a rocket attached to it, and you could just fly it straight at the enemy. Enough of those, you'll destroy them. Which means that the effect of the super weapons is now negated, and the point of building them is now useless, because you could just send a small snub fighter at a kamikaze run to destroy it. So that was a very, very bad move. And then what happened? What happened? Yes, people criticised it. People tried to show them that, look, this is a bad movie. You've messed up. We need to fix this. We need to do something. What do? Oh, the fan base is toxic. Sorry, you're blaming the fact that you've done a poor movie and poor storytelling on the fan base. And you're saying that they're all judgmental. And some of this crap that you've come out with is downright horrible. And it is why the fan base has turned against you. It's why you have lost money. And the sheer arrogance. Anyone in customer service knows that you do not treat your customers that way. And quite frankly, you've done irreparable damage to your franchise. You're still going to have the casual fans, the ones who will love it no matter what it is because it's got the Star Wars logo on it, and fair play to them. But the die-hard fans, the core audience who buy all your merchandise and everything like that, you have really stabbed them in the back with that move. Obviously, this is now turned into a rant, so we might as well get it all out. So, consequently, Solo mostly got boycotted by the fanbase. Your new park is mostly empty, and it looks like the hotel you are going to be setting up is going to get boycotted. Maybe you shouldn't have turned against the fanbase. Maybe. But I've noticed it's what a lot of people are doing at the moment, and quite frankly, it just seems childish to me. Really, really childish. You're not able to take any criticism. You're in a public occupation where you're an entertainer. You're going to get some criticism. It's what I do when people give me any criticism. I roll with the punches and I talk to them about it, and see what we can suggest and do going forward. And generally have a laugh with them, being the sarky git that I usually am. But I never, resort to just calling people names or try and attack them on a personal level. And to be fair, I do think that's something you need to relearn. But yeah, back on topic. So, established a little bit of backstory on what I'm about to address here. Now, as it stands, from what I've heard about episode 9, I have no intention of watching it. I probably may do eventually. Someone did convince me to go and see Solo when it came out. Hopefully you'll roll a natural 20 again, my friend. Otherwise I'm not going. But yeah, the reason for that is, based on the various rumours and trailers I've heard, it is going to push Rey's character into more unrelatable depths. Now, don't get me wrong, Daisy Ridley is a fantastic actress. I enjoy seeing her act. What I don't like about her character is the way it's been written and the way it's been portrayed, in terms of there's no relation to the character. Nobody is good at everything. Even I've had to train to get good at a lot of the things I do. Even some of the smallest things that I do in my own profession I've had to learn. And if I didn't know, I went out and I found out specifically how to learn. But being uber good at everything for no apparent reason just switches you off from the character. And I did think they could have addressed that in The Last Jedi, where, you know, the bit she goes and attacks Luke with a lightsaber or with a pistol and Luke just effortlessly beats her. Not because, you know, she's a woman, he's a man, like they seem to keep pushing in modern TV lately, and to be fair, that does annoy me, because I don't care what my character's gender is. As long as my characters are good and well written. There will be some people who attack me for that. Fair enough, that is your own opinion. But I am entitled to mine just as you are entitled to yours. But that would have been something for Rey to, you know, overcome later. It's a loss. She's suffered. Now she can, you know, her character can evolve, move past that and become better for it. And then, you know, it gives you that relationship to that character. Because you've all had that point in your life where you've suffered a defeat or a setback and then you've overcome it and you've grown as a person. But no, we've not had that with the character of Rey. We may get it in this episode, in episode 9, but to do it, you know, in the last movie in the trilogy is bad. Like we had it with Luke. Luke in episode 4, he had a lot of setbacks that he overcome, and as he joined the Empire, he joined the Rebellion, and then we had The Empire Strikes Back, where he had a couple of losses, but he still felt like, yeah, I'm pretty kick-ass, I'm a Jedi. Oh, I've got to go save my friends. And then he lost to Vader, and he lost in a bad way. But it's not only that, it was the emotional shock of discovering that he was his father. And then we have Luke in Return of the Jedi, where he's suffered through that. He's trained himself up, he's rebuilt a lightsaber, and now he's ready to take on the Emperor and Vader. He wasn't really ready to take on Palpatine, but that's more of what I know of Palpatine and Legends. And that, speaking of which, we're now getting Palpatine come back. As much as I enjoy seeing Ian act, and believe me, I know a lot of you don't like the prequels, but if you watch it from the point of view of someone who's just watching how Palpatine slowly manipulates the Republic into cheering for the Empire being formed, you start to appreciate that a lot more and take out some of the extra elements of it. But hey, each to their own. You know what? I may have to do a video on that at some point. Thoughts for later. But it does seem like they've just shoehorned him in into... those of you who watch my War Games of an Inquisitor series who know Inquisitor Andy, I showed him the Rise of Skywalker trailer. He stopped. He breathed out for a minute. And then he just looked at me and just went, "They're gonna kill my boys," referring to Lando and to Palpatine. Some of you will be sitting there speculating, well, how does an Inquisitor from the far future know anything about Star Wars? Well, he is a member of the Audios Chronos, so he does have a lot of shenanigans with time. But anyway, that's something to address in the future. As it stands at the moment, I do only think that they have brought back Palpatine, brought back Lando, brought back Kenobi, and they're really pushing the Mandalorian. Now, from what I understand, the Mandalorian is actually redressed from the Boba Fett standalone movie, just as, you know, Kenobi is going to be bought and recycled from the original Kenobi movie. Fair enough, if they can still maintain the core premise of that era in their lives. And I really do hope that it is Boba Fett in The Mandalorian. I really do. But that aside, they'll then have to explain how he escapes the Sarlacc, which, honestly, I'm actually planning to do a video on the Sarlacc, so I'll probably do one on how Boba Fett escaped as well. So, yeah, up until this point, summarise. Enjoyed The Force Awakens, disagreed with certain bits. Didn't like The Last Jedi, disagreed with the effect it had on the universe. Not looking forward to episode 9. Didn't enjoy Solo because it essentially character assassinated Han Solo. If it was just, you know, generic space hero B in generic space western A, it would have been fine. But because of how it fits into the wider canon of the Star Wars universe, it doesn't really work. I may do its own video later. Yeah, I think I am going to do that. And so where does this leave us? Well, if, as Kathleen Kennedy has said in the D23 release, building a new relationship with the fans, if these two bits on the Disney streaming service do pay off, and they return to better storytelling and doing these characters justice, you may get me back. I'm still not going to watch probably episode 9 and sign off on the sequel trilogy. That needs a lot of work, and I mean a lot of work. But you at least got me more interested in the other shows. So the post-Return of the Jedi Mandalorian and the pre-episode 4 Kenobi series. But, and I mean this as a warning, Disney, because I care, and I do think you could do better. If you screw this up, you will only make this problem 100 times worse. Because I was on board. And what you did was push me away from what you were doing. So look, what I'm saying is, don't screw this up. If you need reference material, look at Legends. I beg you, look at the Legends material. Because there is gold in there. Yes, there is some trash, but hey, with such a long story with many different writers working on it, they didn't do too badly, but you would get some bad bits. But just look. Have a look at the Mandalorian warrior culture. Have a look at various of the musings of Obi-Wan when he was in exile. Hell, look at Shadows of the Empire. That will give people some understanding of how Luke built his lightsaber again, so it will give you some ideas into the plans and thinkings of Obi-Wan Kenobi as he was looking over Luke. Look into perhaps an Ultimes comic which involved Darth Maul, which that you have made canon with Rebels, going after Lars Homestead. He got a bit closer to Lars Homestead in the comic than he did in the TV series, and Obi-Wan was a bit younger. He still looked more like his Ewan McGregor Revenge of the Sith Obi-Wan, not his episode 4 Allen Guinness Obi-Wan, although the Revenge of the Sith one was kind of meant to be a bridge between the two, from episode 2 to episode 4. But yeah, I do this because I care, because you do have an archive that you could draw upon that I have a vast knowledge of. I'm not saying you need me to do any of this. I'm not that arrogant. But what I'm saying is go back through, and if you cannot be bothered to do the reading, at least go onto YouTube. There are a dozen other YouTubers like myself who discuss the Legends material. I could name the top 5 if you want me to. If you do, put them down in the comments below. I'll stick the links in the comments section. Anyway guys, if you have stuck around to listen to this little mini rant of mine of my thoughts on the Disney canon and all the various things, thank you very much for listening. I do really hope they do better. I really do. As always, if you like this video, consider hitting that like button. If you didn't, consider hitting the dislike. Leave me some criticism down below. Maybe get a discussion going. I'll talk to you in the comments. And if you'd like to share this around, maybe get your friends to watch it, you know, see what they think as well, because I'd like to know what everyone else thinks. There's going to be some of you that give me some hate who, you know, just love the title of Star Wars, didn't really get too much into the wider lore of either canon, but I'd like to hear your thoughts regardless. And if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with everything I've been doing. I should be going back to my usual schedule of uploading content now that I'm now back off my holiday. It's quite fun, actually. Good to catch up with a few people. I think I may have already put one lore video out already, so yeah. Anyway, I'll catch you on the next episode of whatever I put out next. It may even be another Musings episode. And as always, take care and have a good day.